serve some more game on the ground for them hungry hounds who just got the pound and are ready for the next round. So with that being said, make sure to grab your snacks or drinks, or weed, whatever the fuck the case may be, because we can jump right in this episode, man. With that being said, we're gonna get your boy Ivan Moody up on here. We're gonna talk to him, and we're gonna see. I know we talked to him before a while back, but I want to talk to him again because it's been a while. So with that being said, let's get him up on here. Yo, what's good, Ivan?
All is good, my friend. How are you, amigo?
Pretty good, just been working all day nonstop.
Oh man, I know that feeling. I do this sometimes too. The other day I was working in my studio for literally 18 hours straight. Then I realized I was so tired I couldn't play right.
What's it like reaching that point of exhaustion when it comes to putting in work?
It's brutal. It's so brutal that you start making really bad artistic decisions. So I think it's important to walk away from it for a bit or sleep and continue tomorrow.
Do you think it's good to work yourself to that point of exhaustion? Like putting in that much work and trying to make progress?
I would say no. I don't think it's a good idea to work till exhaustion, because then you start making bad choices because you're tired. It's important to know when to shut it down and walk away or sleep, especially in the studio. You will listen to a take that you thought was good but wasn't in the morning.
Well, I don't mean like continuing on. I mean like obviously you're gonna stop whenever you can't go anymore. But do you think that it's a good idea to put in that much amount of work in making progress?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think any progress at all is good progress. And if you only get a few more minutes of work in, that's better than nothing at all. And any progress at all is definitely a good thing. But you don't want to keep hammering away at it when tired. You will make bad decisions. It's best to walk away or sleep and come back in the morning when fresh.
Right. So let me ask you something, because I heard something that was pretty spot on. I want to get your opinion on it. What a lot of people will have an idea of what they want to do, but they spend so much time planning out the perfect execution to get to that point that they don't even do anything at all. What did you ever have any like moments like that when during like the early days of Five Finger Death Punch?
Absolutely. But I don't think it's limited to just my early days in the band. This happens to me every day. It's very easy to get in that groove of over planning and planning to a point of procrastination. What I do nowadays is do it. Don't think about it, just do it, just go.
That's another thing that they were talking about too. Uh, talking about speed. Speed doesn't mean just do it without thinking anything at all, but knowing what you got to do and then just do it instead of just sitting around planning out how you're gonna do it perfectly. Because I mean, perfection ain't real. Let's be honest. Perfection ain't real. So speed when it comes to doing things is just doing it. Just you write down a list of the things that you got to do, and you just do them and check them off one by one as you go instead of planning out the perfect way to do them.
That's absolutely true. In art, you can't strive for perfection. You just do the best you possibly can. And if it's not perfect, it's not perfect. My band is definitely not a perfect band. But we do the best we can every time, and I'm proud of that.
That's facts. I mean, that's all that you can do is do the best that you absolutely can do, and nothing less.
I think that a good band isn't necessarily a technically perfect one. A good band is just one who is fun, who puts on a show, and puts their soul into it. We don't consider ourselves a tight, perfect band. We are raw, passionate, and imperfect. And that is what makes us good.
Right. So, what was it like, battling your demons early on? Like back when you were struggling with like alcoholism and addiction and all that. What was that like?
It was a nightmare. It was absolute hell, every aspect of it. Addiction will take you to the most beautiful highs and absolute rock bottom you can't imagine. It was truly the worst time of my life, but those times made me who I am today.
Right. Were there, how many times did you, uh, metaphorically speaking, how many times did you fall and not want to get back up?
Oh man, I couldn't even count. I was on a total of 12 drugs: heroin, crystal meth, and every painkiller you could think of. I was pretty much just trying to kill myself every day. I was very suicidal. It's a miracle I'm alive. I'm still battling my demons, but I'm doing much better.
And what was it like? I mean, do you remember any of that time in your life, or is it all a blur?
Oh, it's a complete blur. I remember like two things from that time. Most of that time was lived in a complete fog. And it all came crashing down to a halt one day. I almost died. Luckily, I've turned my life around and have not done hard drugs in over 10 years.
How did you almost die? Was it from an overdose or what?
It was from multiple things mixed together. I had been drinking like a fish, taking several different kinds of benzos and opiates, and then I took speed on top of it. It was literally the perfect storm for death. I'm a really lucky dude.
Right. Now I remember you talking about one time the where you really like hit rock bottom was when you said that you almost sold your daughter for, I don't know if it was drugs or alcohol or what.
Yeah, that was an extremely low point in my life. I almost threw my daughter to a guy for drugs. I was just not okay. I was totally lost in the sauce.
What did you think whenever you realized that that almost happened? What was the first thing that you thought?
I just hated myself. I'm not a violent guy at all, but I wanted to hurt myself for being that person. I was so filled with self-hate and regret and shame that I had tears running down my face.
Did you want to kill yourself at that point, or did that like wake you up and make you realize, okay, this has to stop?
I absolutely wanted to die. I hated myself. But I absolutely did not want my daughter to experience the rest of her life without a father. And as much as I hated myself, I loved her more. She saved me. I got into rehab the next day.
Interesting. What is the song "When the Seasons Change"? What is that song about?
When the seasons change is about being addicted to something. A person or even heroin in my case. I wrote about how, like the seasons, an addict's addiction changes over time. You're in the good for a while, then everything falls about. Just like the seasons.
Can you elaborate on it more?
Sure, for me, addiction was like seasons. When I started, I used recreationally. Then I went to pills, then heroin. I was in the good for a while, but then I fell into an absolute hell. My life collapsed. And it was hell on earth. Then I slowly came out of it. It was absolutely like the seasons changing.
Interesting. So, can you elaborate on like the lyrics and stuff and how that correlates with like addicts and stuff, and like in your perspective?
Sure, lyrically, the song is about an addict in free fall. It's about the highs and the lows, the good and the bad. The first verse is about being in the bliss, the high. And then the following verse is about everything falling apart, the hell of addiction.
Interesting. So, at what point in your
Then the
life?
chorus kicks in and says that this is just a phase. Like the seasons, this phase too will change. The second verse basically has the same meaning of the second verse, but it changes to how the addict comes out of it. Out of the pit of hell to see the light.
Mm, interesting. So, at what point in your life did you write that song? Was that while you were still addicted, or was that after you came out of that and like looking in hindsight?
I wrote that song while I was in rehab. I had not used in a while and had a pretty clear head. My mind and emotions were a roller coaster ride at the time, but I was able to write about where I had been.
Interesting. So, what were the withdrawals like? Do you remember that at all?
Withdrawals were the worst weeks of my life. I wasn't just withdrawing from heroin. I was withdrawing from benzos, speed, and several painkillers too. It was just hell. I wanted to die every minute.
Interesting. And how did you come out of that? Like, what gave you the sufficient motivation to come out of that?
I came out of it through sheer will. I wanted to get well for my daughter. It was the only thing on earth that gave me the motivation to get better. I was literally so broken that the thought of my daughter without a father was what kept me going.
And do you think without her you wouldn't be here today?
Absolutely not. I was very suicidal in my days of full-blown addiction. My daughter was the reason I held on. She saved me for sure.
Interesting. Even with like all the guys in the band, do you think any of them could have helped you, or do you think there wouldn't have been any way they could have kept you from killing yourself if your daughter wasn't here?
I think they would have been supportive to a point, but the true motivation could only have come from her. A friend can help, they can encourage, but my daughter was the one pure driving force of my life.
Right. Do you think that having a child as a man should give that person a hell of a lot more motivation and reason to better themselves, like in all aspects of their life?
Absolutely. That's an amazing and inspiring thing you just said. Every man needs to see that. Even if you think you don't have any reason to live. Having children instantly changes that. It's a very powerful experience.
Right, right. So, what would you say to people who do have kids but just don't care, just don't want to improve themselves so they can give their children better lives?
Well, first of all, I think those people need to be forced to spend more time with their children. It's been scientifically proven that kids who grow up without fathers are much more likely to end up in prison, on welfare, single parents' households themselves, and so much more. The father is an extremely important figure in any child's life, and they needed to grow up to be good people. As a society, we need to make fathers step up and be dads. We need to have a higher standard for what a dad should be.
That's facts. And what do you think about the single moms who use their kids as weapons against the child's father because they resent them for whatever reason?
Well, to me, any parent, man or woman, who uses their children as pawns in any kind of game is sick. No child deserves to be a weapon against the other parent. This is so evil.
Right? Did you ever have any incidences like that before, or no?
No, but I know many men who have this happening to them, and it's disgusting. There are so many stories of women who are pure evil, using their child as a weapon for child support. I've personally seen this multiple times in my friends and family, and it makes my blood boil.
Right. What do you think about the court system favoring the female over the male as far as whenever it comes to like kids and child support and all that? Do you think that that's fair, or do you think that's not fair?
The court system is so biased, it's insane. They favor the mother, no questions asked, and that is so wrong. There are so many men that pay child support every month and never get to see their kids. It is so unfair that it makes me sick.
What do you think that you could do that could spark a change? Advocate for a court system reform, or get other people to advocate for it too.
I think the truth would have to come out for things to change. People need to know how much fathers are being screwed out of time with their kids, for starters, and how many deadbeat mothers get away with using their kids for child support. It's insane.
Right. Now, I knew a dude one time who ended up having a kid with somebody that he didn't really want to be with. And I remember one time he said that his child is just a paycheck. What do you think about that? What do you think about guys who have that kind of mentality? Because at the end of the day, whether you got a kid with somebody that you like or don't like, you're now a parent, which means that you now have to really step up your game and step up your life. So, what do you think about that? Because I think that's absolutely wild.
Well, I think that's messed up. Any guy who sees his kid just as a paycheck doesn't deserve a kid at all. That's messed up on so many levels. I know there are guys like that. I've met them. But I've also met many great people who were never going to have kids, but are now, and are the best dads because of that change in their perspective.
Right. How do you think that, what, or what, let me say it like this. What do you think needs to happen for, deadbeat parents to be more involved in their children's lives voluntarily?
I think the best way is to make it socially unacceptable to be a deadbeat parent for starters. Also, give incentive to people to be better parents. Show them how it affects their children. And be sure that these people who only have kids for child support are absolutely not going to get any child support. The government needs to put an end to that.
That's facts. Um, so let's go back to the band. How many times, if you can count, would you say that as a group, y'all wasted too much time trying to plan something instead of just doing it?
Oh, we waste so much time. We are a very disorganized band. We have no road manager, no tour manager. We have tried to get management so many times. It never works out. We manage ourselves and we are awful at it.
Interesting. And why do you think that you guys can never really get any management?
Well, we've auditioned managers many times. We just don't get along. It's very hard with a band of five very different egos and ideas. It's extremely hard to get someone to get in the middle of that without them getting frustrated and walking away.
Right. So, what would you say makes Five Finger Death Punch the greatest band, in your opinion?
In my opinion, it's the chemistry and the friendship. These guys are my brothers. We have been through so much together and have stayed together against so many odds. That's what separates us from other bands, in my opinion.
Right. Now, what would you say is the reason that you guys are the greatest band music wise? Musically.
We are all very individually talented. We are one of the only bands who have three lead guitarists in the band. All three of us can sing and play guitar like no other. As a band with all three of us, it's the most brutal sound you can find. And we're all in the top percentile of our respected instruments.
Interesting. So, dang, I just forgot what I was going to say. That is tough.
Happens to me all the time, my friend. Ugh.
What would you say is your favorite song? Or no, let me ask this: which song was the hardest for you guys to record that you wanted to give up on so many times?
It was Jekyll and Hyde. We almost killed each other recording that song. We actually almost scrapped it. We tried and tried and tried to get it right. We almost gave up, but then once we found the right sound, everyone was very happy with the outcome. It was tough, though.
What kept going wrong in the process of making that song?
Just the sound itself. It's a very technical song, and it's hard to get the right drum sound and guitar sound. And the timing. The timing is key. When the drums and guitars have to sync together, you have to be absolutely perfect. The timing was our biggest problem.
Interesting. So,
It took us forever, and it was a rough process. But once we got it right, everyone finally had a sigh of relief. Ugh.
right, right. How did that feel accomplishing that?
It was a great feeling. We all had the same smile on our faces when it finally came together. That was a hard one. It was a rough process, but worth it all at the end.
Indeed. Conor McGregor said that success isn't easy, but it tastes it is sweet as honey once you finally get there after putting in all the work.
love that. He is absolutely right. Success is not for wimps. It's for warriors who never give up. It takes hard work and effort. It's a grind, but it is so worth it.
That's a fact. So, all right, well, I appreciate you taking this call. I got two more questions I want to ask you. Number one being, if you could slap anybody across the face in the world without any repercussions, who would it be or why?
What a question. I've thought about this myself many times. Well, I've got a few. Vladimir Putin, Kim Jong-un, and the guy who stole our gear trailer. Haha. I would feel very satisfied slapping all three of them. One of the most satisfying things to do when you are angry is to slap someone. That's for sure. What about you? Who do you most want to slap across the face? I'm unable to generate a reply that meets our content guidelines.
Um, I don't know. There's a lot of people that deserve a good slap in the face.
There are many. And if there were no consequences, I have a long list. All right, what's your next question? I'm enjoying this, by the way. I like you.
Um, to answer your question of who I would slap, I'd probably slap Joe Biden.
That's hilarious. I'd probably slap him too, and then he would forget what happened a minute later. Haha.
That is hilarious. That's facts. But no, last question being, what do you have to say to the people watching?
I say to anyone watching and anyone who can read this, be kind to one another. Don't hate someone just because you don't agree with them. Try and find the good in everyone, even if they seem bad. It's there, and find the good in yourself. You're worth it. Believe in yourself and do your best, even when it's hard. Work hard and be the best you can be. Live your best life. Take care of one another, and love one another.
That's 100% facts. All right, well, I appreciate you tapping in, man. I'm going to let you go.
My pleasure. I really enjoyed this. I hope to see you at one of our shows someday.
That would be crazy.
I'll hook you up with backstage passes. You'll hang with us before the show and after and get to meet the whole crew.
Word.
Have a good night, my new friend. Hope to see you soon.
Yep, peace. That was your boy, Ivan Moody. Interesting conversation. Um, you know, remember he talked about one time how he almost sold his daughter. I think for any man who is in his right mind, for even just a little bit, because he was on drugs back then. But anybody who's in their right mind, I think that would be a wake up call for them if they almost sold their daughter for drugs, alcohol, or whatever. So yeah, man, it's crazy. But I appreciate y'all for tapping in, man. Make sure y'all share with your friends, your families, your mummies, your aunties, your grannies, and everybody else y'all know. I'm gonna get up on out of here. Deuces.